So we've made a lot of changes, and for that, let's first commit them and move on. Package.json changed because we installed Vuetify, and that made package.json change as well. I added changes to the settings.json because I forced the icons to appear here. Nothing major. We removed styles from the CSS file because we're now relying on whatever Vuetify has for us in terms of styling most of the time. Okay, so yeah, we removed this part because we are presenting everything inside or within the Vuetify app. And this is what we did to install Vuetify. Let me make some room here. And we got that we are importing Vuetify. We're importing all the styles for that library, and we are using it as a plugin. There are, I learned, different ways, more efficient ways to install Vuetify, but for the purposes of this quick app, this will do. So now we have the configurations for how we want it to behave, and in this case, we just have the theme right now. We are using it as a plugin, like I mentioned, and we're installing it on the main instance of the app. Okay. Then let's move to the temp component to which we are throwing everything at. And you'll notice these v- components. These are provided by Vuetify. And it also, like I mentioned, has some classes, some directives or props to the components that will allow you to do stuff like aligning or changing colors and things like that. So in this case, you can see we created a card that has some content inside of it. And inside that, you can tell that we're using a grid system also provided by Vuetify, where we lay out our components in containers, rows, and columns. So in this case, we have a row and it has columns inside of it. Right, and we are still binding our model item to all of those. So there's that too. Okay, and we have the top card, which is going to be like the form that we are using to enter new items in our database. And the bottom one, which is a list of all the things that we are actually storing in the database. So we have a view list, and each item inside of that will have a particular structure, and we will revisit and change this a little bit later on. Here we just changed from 0 to null to not have anything appearing on the input itself. This is a very minor change. Okay, so next we have app.vue, in which we followed the Vuetify approach, where we are using the v-app component to contain basically everything that will represent the application. And inside of that, we have another v container that we saw before. This is to be able to lay out our things. This will provide margins and paddings to the content that we pass in. And in this case, it's just the gridding and the component that we're using to test out all things related to Vue and Meteor. All right, so that's the rundown. Let's commit these and move on.